Thank you very much. I want to thank Intelligence Squared and the Rosencrantz Foundation for organizing what I think will be a fun and lively evening. So, the resolution before us is that Google violates its "Don't Be Evil" motto. I think it's important for us to frame that and understand what that means and what it doesn't mean. The question isn't whether Google is a great company. I think it is. And I thought what Bob Rosencrantz said about it is exactly right. Much to admire. The question isn't whether Google does more good than evil. I think it does. That's not the question either. The question is whether we can identify certain things which they do, which we think are important to how Google operates, that are inconsistent with that motto. And I think we can. So we should start where that motto comes from. When Google was going to become a public company, it filed its registration statement. If you haven't read those, they're remarkably dull. Not Google's. Google opens with a owner's manual for future Google shareholders. Page and Brin say, we're not an ordinary company. We're not going to be an ordinary company. Get ready for the ride. Okay. And part of that is Google says, we're going to live by a motto. And that motto is we're not going to be evil. Seemingly asking us to hold Google to a higher standard. They're very clear. There will be times when they will sacrifice the short-run interests of Google for the public good. I don't think what's legal is the standard to evaluate for Google. Google asks us for something much more public interested. Google then compares itself to newspapers. Well, that's interesting, right? They seem to be on diverging paths, but I think they thought there was some sense of a public trust associated with newspapers, and we should hold Google to that as well. That's what we're going to try to do tonight. My piece of this is I'm going to focus on the heart of Google's business, which is their advertising model. And I'm going to focus on the recent deal that was proposed between Google and Yahoo, where Yahoo was going to outsource a large chunk of its search ad business to Google. I should say I consulted in connection with the opposition, so you can discount what I say as you wish. I should say we won. That's good news, because that deal has gone away. The Department of Justice suggested that they were going to challenge the deal in court. That was something clearly Google didn't want, so they backed away from it. All right. Advertisers were opposed to the deal. Why were advertisers opposed? Advertisers believed that the deal, and the core of the deal is if you think of search queries, there's a lot of common queries, there's a lot of unusual queries. The deal was going to outsource the long tail, as it were, Chris Anderson's term, of queries away from Yahoo to Google. Advertisers were upset about that. Why? Well, advertisers believed that prices were going to go up because of that. Google's response to that was to say, we run auctions. We don't set prices. Advertisers set prices. We're just middlemen. That's not right, and I think Google knows better. I should say I'm a Google AdWords advertiser, so if you've not looked at the system, the way it works, you can set an account up very easily, pay $5 to do so. I'm advertising. I thought I should understand how AdWords works, so I'm advertising a paper that I wrote on antitrust and privacy and cloud computing. I'm not sure who the second click has been. Okay. But you see how that works, okay? So you can click and go. But the nature of this is that you bid on keyword terms. If you win the auction, your ads are supposed to show up. Now, Google understands that how you design auctions matters, right? There's a whole field of economics devoted to that. We gave William Vickery from Columbia a Nobel Prize for that. Google is designing its auctions in a way that takes advantage of its market power. Does that in three important ways. First, Google runs a system involving minimum bids. So cloud neutrality is one of the terms that I'm bidding on. You can run a search on cloud neutrality. I did yesterday. I know my ad is out there. It didn't show up. Indeed, no ad showed up. And indeed, if you look at the statistics, 50% of the time when you run a search on Google and they produce results, the organic search results, there are no ads next to it. Even though, if you believe the comments, and as I say, I'm one of these AdWords advertisers, my ad is out there waiting to be served, and even though the search that has been done, if they don't run an ad, it's an opportunity to show an ad which is lost forever. So there's a chance for Google to get money there, and yet they're not doing it. Why? Because if very few people are bidding, then I ought to be able to buy it for a very low price, and Google's interest is not served by that. Google wants to make sure that there's a high enough minimum. They've been raising the minimums over time such that Google meaningfully makes money on that. If you look at the blogs, people comment on this. They talk about bidding against the house. That's what they have to do. And Google has changed the terms in which they do that. Okay? That's an exercise in market power. I should say under current US antitrust law, one of the things I do for a living, I don't think that's illegal. Evil? Well, that's the resolution for the House tonight. That's one. Two, if you're an auctioneer, the way you exercise market power is you control the number of slots, right? You don't control prices, you control quantities. In Google's case, that means how many slots are available on the right-hand side next to the organic search results. Google controls that. Now, you might think in a competitive model that we'd have some relationship between the number of ads on Yahoo and on the number of ads on Google. Indeed, the central premise of the Yahoo-Google deal was that Google does a better job of ad matching than Yahoo does. We should therefore expect Google to have more ads than Yahoo, just the opposite. Again, market power being exercised, not illegal, evil, you decide. Finally, third point. Google engages in a kind of bundling. So Google also organizes search for Ask and AOL. You can buy Google alone. You can't buy Ask and AOL alone. They are bundled together with Google. Right? Advertisers would like to be able to advertise separately on those. Can't do it. They won't let you do that. Illegal under US law, EU law? Maybe. We'll see. Right? Evil? I think you can conclude. Now, why should we care about this? Right? The importance of advertising is the way that advertising supports paid content. Right? You should care a lot about the kind of content that's out there. And to the extent that the middleman is making it more expensive for people to reach consumers, we're going to have less content because producers are effectively going to get a lower chunk of the advertising dollars. I'll stop there. Thank you.